on generator power. And like I said, fuel trucks will probably be here today or tomorrow. So we're not concerned about that. We understand that we got major power failures into New Orleans. We are, thinking through that as far as, staffing and other types of support activities. But as I said, as far as our supplies and food and medical supplies and drugs and fuel, we'll get trucks in here, so we'll be fine.
So another question that came in: what are the biggest challenges ahead in the coming days? Power, water, how long can your system run on backup power? It's a similar question. Yeah, if you want to add some more context there.
Yeah, I would just say, I think the biggest challenges in the coming days is around our people. We're going to have lots of people, hundreds or thousands of people that have damage to their homes, can't be in their homes, have various degrees of issues there. So we're working on identifying housing for our employees. Hotels and we did this post Katrina. We identified hotels. We put our employees in hotels. But New Orleans, there's no power or water, so putting them in hotels in New Orleans isn't going to work. We've got to identify other opportunities, and that is ongoing. And then we continue to think about every way that we can take care of just the other personal needs and support our employees. We already are working on getting in significant amounts of supplies around toiletries, around personal items, because we know our employees are going to need these for themselves and their family. We'll run essentially our own mini mart of these types of items, so folks can come and take them. We're not selling them, we're giving them away, but people come and get these items for themselves and their families. So there's just, looking to provide tarps and plywood and things that people are going to need in order to continue to live. And then we have an employee assistance fund that we will put dollars in that people can apply for and have dollars to kind of help them bridge the gap here. So the big issue, obviously we got facilities and all those types of things. We're very focused on that, but at the same time, really focused on the needs of our employees and how we're going to help them address the challenges they have.
Okay, lots of questions coming in. Did I hear correctly? You're evacuating some patients to New Orleans?
Yes. Go ahead, Mike.
Yes, as we evacuate across the Bayou region, we're using all campuses and capability within our system. As Warner mentioned, our facilities in New Orleans are capable on power, backup power with water. And we're also evacuating to Lafayette, likely to Shreveport, to Lake Charles. And so this will be a statewide response to include New Orleans.
And I do see some questions again coming in on like heat injury cases and other things because of power being out and people working on homes, like Warner mentioned. We, after this media briefing, we have a lot of content on safety tips around generators and working in your home. So we'll make sure as soon as this briefing is over, we'll send you a recording and some of that information for your readers and viewers, so they have some of those health and safety tips. Next question, how is bed capacity? Are you struggling to treat trauma patients due to COVID-19 patients?
I think we're okay on bed capacity now, Mike. Maybe you can comment on that, but it's not like we've seen a huge influx in our ERs at this point, but do you have any thoughts on that?
No, that's exactly right. The large majority of the population is left. When they come back, that could pose a different set of challenges, but for now we're fine.
Okay. Have we been receiving requests from coastal hospitals in Mississippi that might be over capacity and might need to move patients due to Ida?
No, we've actually had folks reaching out saying they have capacity and if we need to send patients to them. Our partners at Singing River Health System have reached out to us. Partners at Infirmary Health in Mobile have reached out to us. So, look, we all help each other when we go through these situations. Not sure whether we'll need to send them patients or not at this point, but we are monitoring that, and they've actually reached out to help us, not to send us patients.
And our hospital in Hancock County is on city power and is ready to receive patients as well. So those facilities along the coast of Mississippi are in good shape.
Good. Okay. Before the storm, we've been hearing that New Orleans EMS ambulances were experiencing delays transferring patients to hospitals because of a lack of bed space. What limitations do NOLA area Ochsner campuses anticipate in accepting new patients via ambulance?
Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, I think it's too early to tell at this point. We're holding a lot of patients right now that we can't yet discharge because people can't go to their homes yet. And, some of our post-acute facilities aren't fully ramped up. And so I think this situation will right size over the course of the next couple of weeks as some of the patients we can send home or to other locations for care we're able to do. And then as the population returns. So it'll be tight. It's been tight throughout COVID, as we know. We have adequate physical space, but as Warner mentioned, it's all about our people and having adequate staff to serve our patients. But as we have throughout this process, we will manage it day to day.
So Mike, I know you mentioned staff, and Warner, you have as well. Another question has come in wanting to hear a little bit more about our staff. How are they doing? They've been in disaster mode for more than a year, and now another layer of disaster to deal with.
Yeah, I think it's a challenging situation, right? I mean, folks have been going through COVID for a year and a half now. This fourth surge we went through was the most difficult one that we've experienced since COVID started in March 2020. And now we have a major hurricane that, ends up being probably a little worse than we anticipated going into it. We knew it was going to be a challenge and pretty tough, but given it took so long to pass through, create a lot more wind damage and a lot more roof intrusions and water issues. So yeah, I think staff are challenged. But that's why we're communicating. I mean, we're communicating with you guys quite a bit. We're communicating with them even more and being very transparent with them, doing everything we can to help our team members and all of our staff. So, we'll continue to support them. But yeah, I think it's definitely a challenging time. Our Team B people are out of town, so they're getting rested up. And as soon as we can get Team B in, we'll release our Team A folks and have our Team B people come in. So that's why we organize our structure this way, that we'll be able to bring in folks that are fresh and ready to go and have not gone through the storm, here at our facility. So that's part of our whole planning. That's very organized, and we just don't know exactly when we're going to be able to get them in. But as soon as we can, we'll release some of our Team A folks and bring in Team B. But yeah, I think it's definitely a challenging time, and we know that we're in for several days, maybe a couple of weeks of this situation, but you have to kind of go into it with the right mental attitude, and we're positive. We're taking care of lots of folks. I saw the question about, does this impact how we care for patients or quality? No. I mean, I think, Mike, we did what, couple transplants on Sunday going into Monday. We did, or maybe on Saturday going into Sunday, we did, several surgeries yesterday that were emergent. We'll do surgeries today that are emergent. So this is what folks do. We're here to take care of people, and we'll just stay at it. Mike, I don't know if you got thoughts from your perspective.
I think, as we rounded on our staff over the past couple of days, they approach this with optimism, and they know their roles and they know what they're here to do. And so I think people have stepped up. Now, as Warner said, it's going to be a long process. And so people will get tired, and they have been challenged by COVID. But we had 100% of our staff show up for Team A when we called essential personnel, and that speaks to the commitment that our people have. So our job is to support them and to put them in positions where they can be successful. And that's what we're working to do.
Yeah, a question about what's the evacuation like. We weren't there. We know it went orderly, working with the Acadian Ambulance, who's been a great partner with us on transporting patients. Not sure what the journeys were like. So when the patients get here, we'll get more feedback. But everything we hear about is it's gone pretty smooth. Water intrusion, we're talking about water coming through the roofs, running down walls, coming through windows, given the sustained wind. We had a few windows blow in. We had a few, on the top of elevator shafts or the top of stairwells where you have ventilation covers and the tops of those blew off in the storm. So it's not like we had catastrophic roof failures, but certainly we had a lot of water get into several different areas. And depending upon if it got into the mechanicals and whatnot, which was some of the situation I believe at Chabert, right, Mike? And that's we got some of the water in the mechanicals, and that's why we're evacuating the facility until we can make sure we got everything tuned up and ready to go again. But once again, we're going to keep running the ERs at both St. Anne's and Chabert, so we can be there to take care of emergencies as people, are coming back into the region. So
we'll also continue to run emergency services at St. Charles, which we evacuated a couple of days ago, as previously mentioned. And just so again, folks are aware, we already have roof contractors on site right now, working to mitigate the situation and prevent additional challenges going forward.
Yeah.
So they're already here.
Part of our whole disaster planning, just so everybody knows, is not just going into the storm, it's how we come out of it. So water trucks were staged at various places. Fuel and generators were staged at various places outside of harm's way. We have electricians and various contractors on location and on standby, ready to go. So this is all part of our planning going into the storm, is what are we going to need coming out of the storm. And so if we end up not needing those folks because it's not as bad, that's great. They go home. If we need them, they're here, and as Mike indicated, they're here working, and that's part of our whole storm recovery process.
Okay. Warner, we did receive a question about, and we can circle back on this. I'm not sure if I have an update, but with limited communication methods, is there a plan to keep families of patients that are currently in your facilities updated?
Well, we're always rounding. We're always talking to our leaders. They're communicating with patients and patient families. We have an employee call today sometime. I'm not exactly sure of the time. We have a leader call today and we had a leader call last night about 9 o'clock, update all of our leaders. We'll have another leader call this morning, and then we'll have an all employee call later on today. So we're constantly communicating, and then, we look to our leaders and each of our campuses and each of our departments to be communicating with their team and their employees. So or their team and their patients. So this is an ongoing process that we try to stay on top of. But once again, the situation's fluid. 2 hours from now, we're going to know more than we know right now. And that's why we try to keep the frequency of that communication up. So, Nicole, I saw the question about 911 services. We can't comment on that because we don't have line of sight into exactly New Orleans EMS and 911. So I can tell you ambulances are showing up at our hospitals. We're taking care of folks, but I can't really comment on the stability of that service or the time. You'd have to talk to the city and the parishes about that.
Okay. We are at 10:55. I think we've made it through most of the questions in the chat. I do want to reiterate with what both Warner and Mike said, is that Terrebonne General is our partner facility. So that's why we work closely with them. So just want to reiterate that they are a partner facility that we're working to help.
Yeah, we don't own them, we don't run them, but they're a partner we work with. And so we did get a phone call this morning from them asking for help to evacuate patients. And so we have now deployed our teams, our transfer center ambulances. We're in full mode to help them get evacuated as quickly as possible.
And Warner, I'm getting some questions via direct message. So a few more have just popped in. Do you plan to transfer any of your cancer patients to other facilities to continue treatment or procedures, or will those patients remain and treated as planned?
Mike, go ahead.
Current plans is to treat patients where they are. Again, with the capabilities that we have, all our pharmacies are functioning, and so at this point, we don't see a reason to transfer cancer patients.
Okay. Another, you see that one, Warner, that just popped in?
Go ahead.
I know we touched on this a little bit in the beginning, but again, WWL asking, understanding the weather was tough on most buildings, any infrastructure issues leaving the hospitals any more vulnerable?
I mean, just the ones we talked about with St. Anne's and Chabert that we're evacuating, and then, you know, our River Place facility in St. Charles. You know, I think as far as others, you know, once again, we're on backup generation power, fixing roofs. We got a lot of leaks to fix. We got a lot of water to clean up. We got a lot of roof, you know, the ceiling tiles and things like that. So we got a lot of work to do from that perspective. But as far as can we take care of folks, are folks safe? Can we operate effectively? Yeah, we can do all those things. It's really just cleanup that we've got to work through, and that'll take several days. And as we said, you know, roofers are here. We'll get the roofs secured quickly. Glad that it's not raining today. That helps. So we can get out there and get that work done. So we'll keep you up to date as we have more information on that.
So I would say two related questions, and maybe we can just clarify. One, again, Mike, do you mind giving the numbers on the transfers for St. Anne and Chabert, and any info on where they went? And then the second kind of parallel question to that, are all patients being transferred to other Louisiana hospitals, or are they going to any other states?
Yeah, the number of patients that were transferred from St. Anne and from Chabert was about 65. Depending on the service needed, they went to multiple hospitals. Some went to Lafayette, some went to Morgan City, some went to St. Bernard, some went to Ochsner Medical Center in New Orleans. And so, as mentioned before, we're using all assets at our disposal to care for patients across the state. We have not had to transfer any patients outside of the state yet, but as mentioned before, we have had offers to help from hospitals along the Gulf Coast of Mississippi, which we greatly appreciate, and we might well get to that point.
I'd also say, I mean, I know there's questions about exact numbers that went into which facilities. I would say it's a fluid situation. When we have it finalized, we'll let you know. But this is, and once again, you know, we don't have the exact destination today, like right this minute. We'll have it later today on where the patients at Terrebonne General are going. We're working on that immediately, you know, basically as we talk, there's teams working on that. So we get more information, we can let you know.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so we're at 10:59. Any last questions? We could take one or two more. Okay. We appreciate you joining. As I said, we'll send out the recording of the briefing along with some safety resources for your viewers, your readers, to make sure they have that as they're, you know, working on their homes. And we will work to schedule another briefing as soon as we can and have more information to share with you. Okay.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Take care.